Hello everyone, this is part 7 of What If Naruto Traveled Back in Time and Changed, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. 2 weeks later, Senju compound, Onoki meet the family. Onoki did reach out to Tsunade, and he made time in his busy schedule for the new additions to the village. Onoki checked in at the Senju compound front gate and was escorted inside by Tsunade. He decided to get some information before meeting Naruto. So, Tsunade, you have been with him for the last 6 years. How would you describe Naruto's mental state? Tsunade laughed. Well, all things considered, he is holding it together pretty well. I will warn you ahead of time that this will be the most unique case of MPD that you have ever encountered. Onoki aired an eyebrow at that. Do you know the triggering event? It would help if I knew the root cause. Tsunade took a couple seconds to decide how she would respond before looking directly at Onoki. Look, there are things that he cannot and will not tell you. The triggering event was years of child abuse at the hands of the orphanage, culminating in a severe beating by a mob on his 4th birthday. That beating triggered a safety seal to activate, after which some of his father's memories and knowledge were integrated directly into his mind. After all that, he hid in the Namikaze compound for a whole year, completely isolated before he was able to find me. That enough information for you. Onoki had stopped walking, completely stunned by the implications of the information. Holy shit, no wonder his mind fractured. For all of that to happen to a child. Tsunade sighed and slapped him on his back to break him out of it. Look, Onoki, he has developed his own unique way to deal with it. Your job is to offer advice and make sure things don't get any worse than they already are. Onoki mulled the information over for the rest of the walk before walking into the living room of the Senju compound. There, he saw Yosuke, Rias, Hakari and Naruto waiting for him while splayed out in various positions on the furniture. Onoki looked to Tsunade, who told him to take a seat. Tsunade left the room and gave the group their privacy. Naruto opened for Onoki. Alright, Mr. Yamanaka, I am Naruto Senju Uzumaki, and these are my alter egos Yosuke, Rias and Hakari. They started as transformations I used to survive here in the village, and they have developed into their own unique identities. Onoki blinked rapidly while gawking at the group in front of him. You can speak with your alternate personalities. Naruto nodded. I had my suspicions for a long time. Then, when I was 9, Yosuke here forcibly took over my body and I got the chance to meet them. Rias ruffled Naruto's hair before addressing Onoki. I was his first adult form. I sold ceiling tags and did grocery runs. Now, I am what he refers to as his wild side. I like bars, brothels and hooking up with women. During the day, I now help control his clones to keep our businesses running. Hakari waved merrily at Onoki while blasting him with a gigawatt smile. I started as Naruto's child personality. I actually met your daughter and other clan kids at the playground when we were hiding out. I am what remains of Naruto's childhood innocence and love. I run the Senju shop here in town and Big Brother Naruto says I can make my own friends and live my own life. Yosuke bowed to Onoki before introducing himself. I am his warrior aspect. I am the part of Naruto that will always do what needs to be done. I provide security for the compound, and I am Naruto's training partner. Onoki looked at the odd collection in a stunned silence. He came at the Senju's request to provide assistance in subduing the personalities. He wasn't ready to deal with fully integrated personalities. Finally, he was able to ask a question. How do you all have your own unique forms? He asked. Naruto laughed before answering. Well, Mr. Yamanaka, due to my tenant and chakra density, my transformations are real. Is anything I say safe with patient confidentiality? Onoki nodded. Yes, so long as it doesn't endanger yourself or others, everything said here will remain confidential. Naruto smiled at his fellow blonde. Very well, I developed a way to allow the personalities to inhabit my wood clones. I am working on a more permanent solution, but as of right now all they require from me is a daily top-off of their chakra. Rias and Yosuke require a lot more because of the nature of their activities. Onoki's jaw hit the floor. Did you say wood clones? Naruto nodded with a small smile on his face. Yes, I have Mokuton. I figured I should tell the guy that runs the flower shop. The Hokage knows, but I am waiting to reveal this until the time is right. Onoki was more stunned by the bloodline than the three extra personalities looking at him with amused satisfaction etched all over their faces. A cough from Naruto snapped him out of his shock and back into professional mode. Okay, so bloodline aside, you have already reconciled with your personalities and rather than attempt to reintegrate them into your core Edo, you let them live their own lives. Naruto shrugged. I already have a Biju that I am wrongfully imprisoning. I didn't feel like subjecting versions of myself to that. Plus, I haven't had any nightwalking episodes since I started letting him out this way. Rias blushed and looked down at the floor, which wasn't missed by Onoki's analytical gaze. So, Rias, was it? Should I assume you were the one responsible for the nightwalking? Onoki asked. Rias chuckled while Naruto looked at her with amusement. Haha, yeah. When he was younger, it was so boring in there. He was forced to act like an adult to survive and all he did was train so he would be strong enough to find his mother. Hakari beamed a smile at Onoki. I never pushed my way out, but brother let me out to go play at the park while he trained. Tell Ino Hakari says hi, that should get you a funny reaction. Onoki was struggling to process the information when Yosuke spoke up. I am the only one to ever forcibly take over his body. An evil man was threatening people that we love, and I removed said man from this world. Okay, so, to summarize, you discovered you had MPD when you were 9. Since then, you have let them maintain their autonomy and not attempted to reintegrate them or suppress them. There have been no side effects from this. Onoki summarized before asking. Naruto thought about it for a bit before he shared what he had been feeling. Well, I do feel empty without them, like something is missing. I can't stop the thought from occurring, but each time I crush it with seeing them happily living their own lives. They are a part of the family now, after all. Onoki frowned. This case was so unique that he would have to play it by ear. Well, there are some Yamanaka mind techniques that we could try. If I saw your mind, I would be able to assess the situation more accurately. Naruto raised his hand in a stopping motion and shook his head. No, that I cannot allow. Q doesn't like intruders, especially since someone from your clan tried multiple times to brainwash me in the orphanage. Naruto hated lying to Onoki, but this was the excuse they had come up with. Letting Onoki see his past life would go against Kami's wishes and it would cause too many problems. Onoki's eyes fell to the floor, truly ashamed that someone in his clan would do such a thing. I am sorry, Naruto. To think a member of my clan. Don't worry about it. It was Fu from Danzo's Root program. That is what Q says anyway. How is the reintegration of Root going? Naruto decided to steer the conversation further away from mind walking. Onoki frowned. Well, since you have been forthright with me, their cases are far worse than your own. Brainwashing of that extent from a young age is almost irreversible. Plus, the damned seals won't let us get more information. Ria said an eyebrow. Well, you are talking to two seal masters here, Mr. Onoki. For the right price, the Senju clan would be happy to help. Naruto frowned at that. Yeah, that seal is a piece of work. A loyalty, silencing and suicide seal all locked into one. Nothing we can't handle with enough time though. Onoki looked between the blonde and redhead, struggling to believe children would be able to solve a seal that Jiraiya couldn't break. If that is the case, I will inform the Hokage. Back to you though, it seems like you interact with the QB on a regular basis. Naruto nodded. He didn't intend to hide this aspect. Yes, he is far more agreeable due to my Mokuton. He is a nice guy once you get past the 40-story tall fox bit. Could you describe your mindscape for me? It would help me get a better understanding of your mental state. Onoki continued prodding. Well, when I was 4, I reshaped it into a forest clearing with a massive lake. When these yahoos appeared, a cottage appeared as well. Underneath the cottage, a library of sorts is there that contains my memories and what I have learned, all in scroll or book form. The weather of the mindscape generally reflects my mood, but I don't know what it is like when nobody is in there. It is full of grey clouds, Kit. Not unpleasant but missing your usual sunshine. Q informed him through the mind link. Oh, Well, Q says that when they're out it gets cloudy and kind of gray. He says it isn't bad but not as colorful or lively as when they are held within me. Naruto informed the group. Onoki thought on that while the four personalities looked at him. Do any of you know if you share a link to the original Naruto? Like, is there any pain for you when you are apart or anything you have noticed? Yosuke was the first to speak up. For me, prolonged absence from him starts to hurt. We have never been a far distance away from each other, but I would imagine that would increase the discomfort. Rias adopted a thinking pose and her tongue protruded slightly from the edge of her mouth. Mare, I haven't noticed it that much. It might be because he requires your aspects more than mine for his training. Which would mean the seal turns gray because Hakari is absent. At least, that is my professional opinion. Onoki added, trying to make sense of the perplexing situation. Naruto, I need to ask, I see your representations here, but typically in situations like yours there is a darker aspect. Have any of you encountered an Edo like that? Naruto thought about it and realized that he had reconciled with his darkness at the start of the Fourth Great Ninja War in front of the waterfall. He hadn't seen his dark half since then, but that should make sense, right? Mr. Yamanaka, I met and integrated my dark half. There was no other way to deal with him other than to accept him as a part of me. Onoki was stumped. For someone suffering from MPD to be able to accept and integrate a personality wasn't unheard of. However, if the dark half was fueled by rage and hatred, then why would it willingly reintegrate with the original? Why did it agree to reintegrate, Naruto? I will tell you that it is difficult to believe. Especially since your special guest is supposed to be the embodiment of hatred. Naruto shrugged. We were equal and opposite forces. Either mutual destruction or find a way to move forward together. The counseling session left Onoki perplexed with a lot to think about. He was missing something, and he knew it. He just didn't know how he was going to get Naruto to open up. The boy was incredibly smart and mature for his age. To have a fully developed mindscape, to be able to accept the splitting of his personality, hell there were many more amazing things that the kid did, but it was almost too much for Onoki to accept. He would have to ask Ino to keep an eye on him. Getting to know Ino. Throughout their time in school, Naruto made subtle attempts to reach out to Ino. Despite the memories that once again began haunting his nightmares, he longed for her presence and a reminder of her playful touch. He made progress with her after a couple weeks and she started joining his group during sparring sessions and lunchtime. She still had her clique of friends, but Naruto honestly didn't know how to break her out of her gossip queen phase. Maybe he would have to let it run its course. One Saturday, after waking up and getting through the morning workout with Yosuke and Tsunade, Naruto rinsed off and went to grab a towel when he remembered promising Ino that he would stop by the flower shop. He hadn't made it into her shop before today and in his previous life he wasn't exactly welcome. They weren't overly mean, but he didn't have a great relationship with Ino or the Yamanaka clan until after his training trip with Jiraiya. Naruto threw on a pair of light blue jeans and a black beater. He threw on his Senju Uzumaki family jacket and positioned his great-grandfather's necklace in between his pecs with the jacket laid open. After losing the endless fight against his spiky blonde locks, he grabbed a black headband and tied it to hold back his bangs. With a final breath check, Naruto left the Senju compound and walked his way to the Yamanaka flower shop. The friendly jingling of a bell over the door announced Naruto's entrance into the Yamanaka's store. He saw rows of small potted plants, fertilizer, potting soil and the air was rich with the condensed smell of the outdoors. Naruto looked to his right and saw blonde hair peeking over the top of a magazine and he couldn't suppress the smile that was emerging on his face. Welcome to the Yamanaka flower shop, please let me know if you need help finding anything. Ino rattled off her automatic greeting without the familiar flirtiness or jubilance that Naruto had grown to love. Naruto let the smile fully onto his face as he pulled down the top of the magazine, much to Ino's consternation. The scrunched-up face broke into a smile when Ino processed who was actually in her store. She had invited Naruto to stop by several times because her daddy told her that Naruto had a special talent with gardening, which she had confirmed whenever she went to train at the Senju compound. Ino beamed a smile to match Naruto's grin before exclaiming, Naruto. You finally came to my shop. Oh ho, your shop, is it? Came a feminine voice from behind Ino. Yes, Lena, it is more my shop than yours. Ino snapped back. The older blonde woman sighed. Let's not get into this in front of customers, dear. Now, would you mind introducing me to your friend? Naruto processed the tense interaction and decided that he would take over for Ino to take the pressure off of her. Hello mom, I am Naruto Senju Uzumaki. I am a classmate of Ino's and she invited me to come check out the store. The woman in her late 30s smiled in a motherly sort of way. Nice to meet you, Naruto. I am Lina, I am Ino's stepmother. It is a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Yamanaka. Well, Ino, would you like to show me around the store? Naruto hit Ino with a disarming and genuine smile that she couldn't resist. She jumped down off her stool and left her fashion magazine on the counter. Yup. Let's go Ruto. I will show you my favorite plants. Ino chirped before she grabbed Naruto's arm. Lina watched with an endearing smile that cracked into a sad frown when the kids were no longer present. As they were walking through the store, the plants seemed to come to life and their colors became more vibrant. Ino was mystified by the affect as her normally drab store danced with a potent life energy. She looked up to Naruto who was wearing a serene look on his face and noticed that the necklace was glowing a faint, emerald, green. She had yet to release his arm and the thought brought a blush to her cheeks, which went unnoticed by Naruto who was taking in the variety of plants the store had to offer. Once the tour was done, Ino sat Naruto down in the outdoor garden section next to a small, man-made pond. Naruto relaxed back on both of his hands and closed his eyes to take in the warm spring day. Ino watched her fellow blonde with analytical eyes, trying to understand his strange behavior. None of her other friends liked her store this much, they only stopped by to gossip and talk about boys. So, Ino, you want to tell me what that was all about with Lina? Naruto asked in a tender voice before he cracked an eye open to observe what he could already feel. Ino sighed, well, my mom died in the QB attack. It took Daddy years to move on and a couple years ago Lina came into the picture. They married last year, and it is like she has done everything she can to replace Mom. Ino was struggling to hold back tears as she shared her story. Naruto sat up and put a comforting hand on Ino's, who had buried her head in between her knees. Daddy really likes her, but she and I don't get along. Naruto used his thumb to rub a soothing pattern on the back of Ino's hand. Well, I don't know what that would feel like, but can I ask you a question? Ino nodded weakly with her head still buried. You see, I grew up without a family and I left the village to find what remained of mine. Is it possible that Lina isn't trying to replace your mom? Maybe she just wants to be there for you, which is in a motherly way. Ino's head shot up and tears were trickling while she wore a frown on her face. What would you know about it? She asked challengingly. Naruto kept his right hand on Ino's and raised his left in a disarming gesture. Sadly, nothing. What I can say is that I would give almost anything to have parents. Tsunade is great, she loves me like a mother and has mostly filled that role. If she found somebody that made her happy, and that man attempted to assume a fatherly role in my life, then I like to think that I would give him a shot. Because, being real with you, I don't think that would replace or dishonor my father. My father would want me to have another role model in my life. Naruto let it hang there and Ino buried her head again. The silence was broken by small sobs and shakes of Ino's back that prompted Naruto to scoot next to her and wrap an arm around her back. He started rubbing her back, trying to ignore the two overly obvious presences that were attempting to spy on them. Naruto continued with this status quo until Ino brought her head out of her knees and rested it on Naruto's shoulder. Maybe you are right, I just wish I could have known my mom. Daddy has showed me pictures of her, and I grew up hearing stories about her, Ino whimpered into his shoulder. Naruto smiled and used his most caring voice to hammer home his point. I get that, princess. I really do. I grew up reading my parents' journals alone on their old estate. For me, it all boils down to one simple question. Does having Lina in your life make your daddy happy? Would your life overall be better without her in it? No. Ino instantly shot back. Naruto smiled and lifted her chin so that he could meet her rich, blue eyes. He wiped some tears from her cheeks and then whispered. So, why not try to make peace with her? Tell her how you feel and give her a chance to do the same. I can only imagine how hard being a stepparent is. Ino didn't respond, she just leaned into Naruto's chest and let him wrap her in a hug. Ino felt like she was enveloped in a blanket of peace when Naruto's arms wrapped around her. It was a strange and comforting feeling, being this vulnerable in front of a boy she barely even knew. "Can I share a secret with you?" Naruto whispered, and Ino nodded. "I brought someone along today that wanted to see you again. This is going to seem weird, but you already know her." Ino broke the hug and looked at him confused. Okay. It's not going to be something weird, is it?" Naruto shot a pleading smile at her and crossed his pointer and middle fingers into a cross-shaped hand sign before focusing on removing his influence and letting Hakari push her presence into the jutsu. A shadow clone of Hakari formed and waved at Ino with an abashed smile on her face. Ino looked from the girl to Naruto and back to the girl. Then she gasped when Hakari transformed into her child form. Hakari stepped forward and spoke hesitantly. "Hiya, Ino. I don't know if you remember me, but we played a bunch on the playground when we were 4. I am one of Naruto's alter egos and I hope we can still be friends." The two spying adults and Ino were shocked by this, but Onoki was hoping his daughter wouldn't freak out. Ino was in a stunned state as memories of her old friend fell into place. She hugged Hakari and looked to Naruto for an explanation. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly and Hakari retook her preteen form. "Well, you see, when I was little and hiding out on my dad's compound, I had a bunch of the villagers and shadier ninjas looking for me. I was going stir crazy and struggling with being alone. The need for supplies and human contact results in Rias and Hakari splitting from my personality. As best as I can explain it, Hakari let me interact with kids my age and Rias brought in enough money and supplies to keep me alive. Please don't be mad at him, Ino, it was really rough growing up," Hakari said with a pleading smile. Ino looked at the two pleading blondes and finally broke herself out of her stunned state. Simultaneously, Onoki took Lina back into the shop to explain a couple basic things. Ino locked eyes on Naruto and struggled to form a proper question. "So, let me get this straight, half of the Senju clan is your alternate personalities?" Naruto answered the question with an abashed look. "Well, kind of. Yosuke is one too. Rather than suppress them, I chose to accept them. Then I found a way to let them have their own lives, even if it is a bit unorthodox." Ino's mouth was hanging open, which made Hakari giggle. "That's crazy. Yup. My brother is definitely cuckoo." Hakari chirped and let out a merry laugh, which broke Ino's tension and made her laugh lightly as well. A cloud hung over Naruto's head and a miniature rain shower represented his mood. Come on, Hakari, that's not very nice. All things considered, I think I am holding up pretty well." Hakari put a comforting hand on Naruto's shoulder. "You sure are, big brother. You are doing an amazing job. You consider your alter egos family?" Ino asked, truly perplexed. As a student of the human mind, this was unheard of for her. "Yeah, I do. Since I have let them live their own lives, they have developed their own personalities and quirks that I don't even have. So, they are part of my happily crazy family," Naruto said with a wistful smile on his face. Ino smiled. "Well, any other earth-shattering secrets you feel like sharing today?" Ino was taken aback by the serious look that fixed itself on Naruto's and Hakari's faces. "Depends, Ino, can you promise to keep a secret?" Naruto asked in a firm tone. Ino nodded, but Naruto insisted she say it out loud. "Ino, I am serious, your dad knows, but I need you to promise not to tell anyone until I say so." "Okay, fine, I promise." "Gosh, I mean what could be worse than MPD and you having the QB sealed into you?" Ino sassily retorted. Naruto showed Ino a playful smile as he put her hand on the ground and channeled chakra. Ino watched as a yellow daisy sprouted from the ground before going into full bloom. Naruto picked it and placed it in her hair. Ino's jaw hit the grass and she remained mouth agape for a few minutes, eyes fixed on the spot where the daisy was growing. Naruto laughed as Hakari grew impatient and started poking her in the face, which broke Ino out of her daze. Is that what I think it is?" Ino whispered in amazement. "Depends, if you think it is Mokuton, then you would be right. Granda Hashi had it as well and I guess I got it too," Naruto answered. Ino took a second to look around and noticed that the grass was greener and longer, the flower displays were all in full bloom and their colors were more vibrant. In a 10-meter radius around Naruto, Life overflowed from the plants in the Yamanaka flower shop. That's amazing, Ruto. Ino gasped out. Oh. Finally calling me Ruto, are we? Naruto asked coyly, which earned him a playful shove from Ino and a giggle from Hakari. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's kinda why I wanted to come to the flower shop. I wanted to learn more about flowers and expand what I can grow. Trees get boring, but I wanted to be a one-man garden. Maybe you could help me plan out the Senju and Namika's gardens. Ino lunged forward and hugged Naruto excitedly. I would love to. The trio spent the rest of Ino's shift getting her work done and talking excitedly. In between customers and orders, Ino would share her knowledge and love of plants with Naruto. Hakari finally got a chance to reconnect with her friend, and the hole in Naruto's soul closed slightly as the piece named Ino began to slide back into place. Timeskip, 3 months later. Naruto woke up to go to school today. That should have been a normal behavior, but it wasn't. He soon got fed up with the monotony of schoolwork and sent a shadow clone in his place. He got the memories anyway, so he could use the time better to physically train with Yosuke, Jiraiya, who had recently shown back up, Tsunade when she wasn't working, or the ever-growing horde of shadow and wood clones. He would also do his seal crafting, business and orphanage management, and spend time with his alter egos on days he skipped out. Naruto enjoyed training far more than school, but there were some days that he had to be present at school, and this was one of them. Their midterm assessment was today, which meant he would have to fight and partake in the other tests. Some days, he let Hakari go since she sporadically said that she wanted to know firsthand what the academy was like. She always came back extremely bored and said she didn't want to go again. Then, a week or so later, she would ask to go again as an excuse to get out of the shop. Naruto loved his innocent personality and was more than happy to cave to her whims. Anyway, back to school it was for the original Naruto. A lot had happened in 3 months, most of it good. He, or his clones, had been able to kickstart the relationships with Shikamaru, Hinata and Ino. In addition, he let the Kumo shinobi into their little group, which was made far easier when they heard the story of the Kumo incident and apologized to Hinata on behalf of their village. Hinata, ever the forgiving type, easily accepted the apology and welcomed them into the study group. Naruto, having little faith in the academy's curriculum, had started his study group on actual training that would benefit them. Physical CrossFit workouts after school, chakra control, determining chakra natures, spars and mandatory weapons training. The Kumo shinobi already had their katanas, a standard of Kumo, so they were sorted out. Shikamaru chose to specialize in using a Kyoketsu shoge, which was a double-edged blade with another hooked and curved blade coming out of its hilt. It was attached to a chain, which was only 10 feet long due to Shika's current lack of strength, and it ended in a ring. Shikamaru chose this weapon to supplement his range and theorized that he would be able to use it to immobilize and distract so that he could secure his enemies with his shadow possession jutsu. His decision was reaffirmed when Naruto pointed out that he could use the chain as a natural extension of his shadow, which Shikamaru instantly proved in practice. Hinata was the hard one to choose a weapon for, not because Naruto didn't have a good idea for her, but because her clan frowned on the use of weapons. Not to mention her natural disposition was not to hurt anyone. Yosuke worked to break her of this mentality because it would come back to bite her, or ones she loved, in the butt. It was slow progress, but the shy Hyuga heiress was starting to break out of her shell. Naruto got her started on the bow because range was the primary weakness of all Hyuga. It helped that Naruto created a storage seal on her left bicep to store the weapon, but she only ever practiced with it within the protection of the Senju compound. The past 3 months had been great getting to know Samui and Omoi. Despite Samui's not-so-subtle advances, Naruto had maintained a friendship with her and found out that there was a lot buried beneath the Ice Queen personality she projected. She was incredibly smart and loyal to a fault, and Naruto loved getting to know her softer side. Since the two Kumo shinobi had nothing else to do, they spent most of their after-school time at the Senju compound. Samui had bonded with Tsunade and Shizune, who were working on her chakra control to steer her towards medical ninjutsu. They didn't see their efforts as harmful to the village, since I would be sure to appreciate a Sannin going out of her way to bond with one of his subordinates. Omoi functioned as an extremely odd form of comedic relief. His wild tangents often made the kids laugh uproariously, and it became a game among the group to add into his elaborate chain of worst-case scenarios. Underneath a mild case of paranoia, Omoi was a good friend with a great heart. He wanted to do everything he could for the betterment of Kumo and to protect his friends, which was a sentiment Naruto could respect. Back to school, Naruto walked with Gaara and Mayuri to the front gates and saw Samui and Omoi waiting to enter with them. After the usual greetings, the trio made their way into the classroom and took up the usual seats. The other students of the class often gave Naruto and Gaara a wide berth, their minds still undecided on whether it was safe to befriend Jinchuriki or not. The village was split 70-30 in Naruto's favor, but 30% of people hating you for something beyond your control is still a deterrent for friendship and natural peace of mind. Naruto took the time to glance down at the brooding duck butt when Sakura and Ino came rushing in through the door. "I win, Ino pig," Sakura screeched, much to the consternation of the students in the classroom. "TSH, whatever forehead. Go take the seat next to Sasuke." Ino's eyes flitted up to Naruto, who shot her a smile and patted the open seat next to him. "Why are you giving up so easily, pig? It's not like you," Sakura said in a slightly less screechy tone. "Maybe I am sick of chasing a guy that won't give me the time of day. Look at him, he won't even look at you. What makes you think that is ever going to change?" Ino asked condescendingly. This shut the pink-haired wannabe Kunoichi up, and Ino used the silence to climb the stairs to the back of the classroom and sit next to Naruto. She blushed when he shot her another smile, but her blush was suppressed when she saw the glare of Hinata over Naruto's shoulder. Whatever, Ino thought, it's not like she has exclusive rights to him. Ino leaned into Naruto and gave him a hug, which caused a jealous fidget from Hinata and a glare from Samui. Ino suppressed her urge to stick out her tongue at the Hyuga heiress and simply released the hug. "So, Ruto, what do you think of my new outfit?" Ino asked while fluttering her eyes. Instead of the usual purple two-piece and bandages, Ino was wearing a vibrant yellow battle kimono with white flowers imprinted on it. "Well, it's a bit bright for a shinobi, but it suits you well. You ready to kick some butt today?" Naruto asked casually. Ino pounded her fist into her other hand. "You bet. I haven't joined your training sessions for nothing. I want to show you how much I have improved." Her tone was confident, bordering on bragging. Naruto laughed, "Haha, alright. I will be sure to watch your fight. How is your other training going?" Ino lowered her tone to a whisper and leaned into Naruto. "Well, Daddy is helping me. I stopped dieting completely and I have been on Lady Tsunade's meal plan. It has really helped me train better." Naruto's gigawatt smile at the information made all the discomfort of the past month worth it. "That's great, Ino. I am proud of you. Keep it up." Naruto cheered her efforts in a hushed tone. Making sure that Ino didn't delay her development into a true kunoichi was one of Naruto's goals when he returned to Konoha and joined the academy. Naruto, do you think that I could TT train with you after school today?" Hinata asked with a blush on her face. Oblivious of the emerging scowl on Ino's face, Naruto turned to Hinata. "Sure thing, it would be great to have you. I made a seal arrow I think you are going to like." Hinata beamed at that bit of information. She always felt giddy inside when Naruto said something that demonstrated Naruto thought of her in his free time. She remained silent and blushed a cherry red, unable to escape her thoughts and regain control due to his smile. "Anyway, Naruto, Daddy was wondering when you were going to come by the shop next. We could use some help with a batch of plants." Ino cut in to disrupt the moment between Naruto and her new rival. Wait, new rival? When did she start seeing Hinata as a rival in anything other than spars? Gaara decided to save his friend. "Ino, Naruto is very busy with his duties and after-school training sessions. We will be by the shop when we have some free time, but this weekend is going to be busy." His monotone reply shredded Ino's hopes of getting Naruto on a weekend date. What could that Senju loser possibly teach you?" Sasuke killed the joy of the conversation and earned glares from the whole group. Before anyone could reply, Naruto faced Sasuke casually. "Oh, duck butt, I didn't even see you there. Your broody camouflage was too strong. Well, we get together and train a bunch of things. Ino, why don't you show Sasuke what you mastered last week, since we don't have a pond readily available?" Ino smiled radiantly and proudly. Sure thing, Ruto. She then walked to the classroom wall and casually walked up in before hanging upside down on the ceiling from her feet. You see, Uchiha, I teach my friends actual skills that will help them in the shinobi world. Has Itachi taken the time to teach you tree walking yet? Naruto knew he shouldn't evoke the brother complex, but he had stomached the Uchiha's derisive comments for the last few months and he was fed up with it. Idiot Naruto, stop showing off to my beloved Sasuke. You will never be as good as him. There is a reason the Uchiha are the best clan in Konoha and not the Senju. Sakura screeched and the room fell silent. Every head turned to Naruto to see how he would react. For Naruto's part, he was enraged, and he had instinctively jumped to his feet. He was struggling to contain his anger and his eyes were closed in an attempt to get his emotions under control. Calming hands from Hinata, Ino and a hand on his shoulder from Gaara tempered his anger enough not to have a tree rip the pink banshee in half. After letting out a deep breath, Naruto responded to the terrified girl. Listen, Sakura, the opinion of a beyond useless little girl means jack squat to me. You are smart, I give you that, but you lack the wisdom to put your knowledge to good use. The Uchiha over there would sooner you in the ass than ever breed with such a weak kunoichi. You diet, you never train, you are skin and bones and your greatest wish in this harsh world is for your beloved Sasuke to save you. Naruto disappeared in a blur of motion and had a kunai at the terrified kunoichi's neck before anyone realized he had moved. If I so wished, I could kill you in 1,000 different ways and there wouldn't be a damn thing the duck butt or you could do about it. Now go to the bathroom and change your pants, I don't feel like smelling your piss all day. Naruto resealed the kunai and walked casually back to his seat. Ino shot him a look that told him he may have gone a little too far, but Naruto didn't care. His rage was still simmering below the surface. Samui nodded and shot him a small smile to show she approved of how he handled the situation, as did Omoi. Luckily, Iruka and Mizuki walked in and interrupted any would-be retorts. They were confused when Sakura ran out of the classroom saying that she would be back in an hour, but they shrugged it off. That afternoon, after lunch, was the reason Naruto needed to attend in person. The midterm skills assessment included an obstacle course, shuriken, kunai throwing and a taijutsu spar. Even though Naruto sent clones, he was still rated highly in taijutsu. The clones always fought defensively so they wouldn't get popped when the students were practicing, but this would be the first true sparring between the students this year. Samui ended up fighting Hinata and losing to her. If she had her sword, it would be different, but the Hyuga were fearsome in taijutsu. Plus, it seemed like the Hyuga girl really didn't like her and was more than happy to use this opportunity to vent her frustrations. When Samui saw Hinata immediately glance at Naruto after being declared the winner, Samui knew it was because she liked him and Samui had been attempting to seduce him. Ino ended up fighting and trouncing Sakura. She didn't hold back as much as she normally did because she was still mad about her friends saying all that to Naruto. In addition, Ino was forced to admit that Sakura needed a wake-up call, and it was Ino's duty as her friend to provide said wake-up call. They usually fought fairly equally, but today Ino laid a beat down on Sakura. Jab, left cross, right hook, all shots connected to the head of Sakura, and she ended up unconscious on the ground with a black eye. Shikamaru ended up fighting Gaara, which was interesting. Gaara had actually learned his family's taijutsu style, Sandstorm, which was a defensive style that camouflaged counterattacks and wore out opponents. Shikamaru was marginally stronger and equally as lazy as Naruto remembered him being in the academy. Sadly, Gaara couldn't disable his automatic defense and Shikamaru couldn't penetrate it, so he forfeited. Omoi fought against Kiba in a decent display of taijutsu. Kiba was nearly as fast as Omoi and a lot more aggressive. Naruto saw that Omoi was landing more quality blows, but the feral dog boy was able to shake him off. Omoi, like Samui, had grown dependent on his sword and ninjutsu and was lacking in taijutsu. The Raikage would probably be beefing up taijutsu training for his academy students once he heard about this. In the end, Kiba won the match by landing a hit to Omoi's chest and knocking him out of the ring. Then all heads turned to look between Naruto and Sasuke, the battle between the Uchiha and Senju. While Naruto could care less, he did not intend on losing to Sasuke. Resentment bubbled underneath the surface whenever Naruto looked at that smug face. Naruto was able to reconcile his feelings of the past with most people, but not with Sasuke, Sakura and a few others. Thus, when the pompous duck butt taunted Naruto, any restraint was tossed out the window. Well, let's go, little Senju. You have avoided every attempt I have made to fight you. Of course, it makes sense since the Uchiha have proven to be the superior clan. Sasuke taunted from the center of the ring. Sure thing, duck butt. However, I thought you couldn't be considered a true Uchiha until you activated your Sharingan. I heard Itachi's was fully developed by the time he was your age, so what's your hold up? Naruto responded in a forced, calm tone. Whispers erupted around the ring and heightened the tension. Most of the girls believed the Sasuke would win, but Naruto's group knew differently. Samui simply wondered how much the son of the Yellow Flash was going to toy with the Uchiha before putting him out of his misery. Ino hoped Naruto would win, but she didn't want him to go overboard. Hinata just wanted the chance to see Naruto fight. Gaara sat on the sidelines, arms crossed in front of his chest, wondering how far his brother would take this before ending it. Sasuke fumed at Naruto's snide remark. It was true, nobody could be considered a true Uchiha until they awoke their Sharingan. And bring Itachi into the equation brought out Sasuke's inferiority complex. Shut it, Senju. My clan thrives while yours is on the brink of destruction. That is all the proof needed. Naruto picked earwax with his pinky before flicking it at Sasuke. Oh, yeah, that. Well, during the second and third shinobi wars, while Senjus were holding down the front lines, your oh-so-fearsome clan was on military police duty. We took our losses and died like heroes. Remind me though, how many Uchiha have been Hokage, and then take a look at 1, 2 and 4. Nuff said. Mizuki looked strangely between the pair, not knowing if this was going to end well. Of course, he wanted the Uchiha to win. His master had tasked him with observing this Uchiha's development, and he could tell the boy had immense potential. Begin, Mizuki shouted before jumping back. Naruto yawned and kept his hands in his pockets, knowing that Sasuke used a defensive and reactive fighting style. If he could provoke the Uchiha into attacking, then it would be an easy win. You going to stand there all day, princess? Sasuke charged forward at high speed, well, high speeds for an academy student. Sasuke lashed out with a right straight, that was dodged, and followed it up with a sweep kick. The kick landed, but felt like he had just kicked a tree. The leg didn't budge an inch, and before Sasuke could recover from his lowered position, Naruto kneed him in the face and sent him rolling back. Sasuke recovered and wiped the blood from his nose before noticing that Naruto's hands were still in his pockets. Enraged by the fact that Naruto wasn't taking him seriously, Sasuke charged again and let loose a flurry of blows. Naruto ducked and stepped back, constantly keeping his distance from Sasuke and getting nearer to the edge of the ring. Sasuke was getting further enraged by the inability to land a blow, and he kept increasing the rate of his attacks. Naruto kept dodging the punches and blocking the kicks, all the while guiding the fight. Finally, he noticed that he was next to the edge of the ring. Sasuke attempted a roundhouse kick after whiffing on a left hook, and he saw his foot swinging around at Naruto's head level. He saw that the Senju could no longer dodge backwards, and he knew this blow would win him the fight. Naruto ducked under the leg, spun around to Sasuke's back, and with his back to Sasuke launched a rear kick into Sasuke's butt. The off-balance Uchiha fell forward and collapsed in a heap outside of the ring. As the fight was going on, the fangirls were getting more and more subdued. Their cheers quieter and their anxiety became more prevalent. They all saw that Naruto still had his hands in his pockets and Sasuke hadn't landed a single blow. Then they watched horrified as Sasuke was sent sprawling to the ground outside of the ring. While the fangirls moaned, those that knew Naruto simply smirked. He didn't go overboard and physically injure the Uchiha, no, he did something far worse. He injured the Uchiha's inflated pride. Naruto simply walked out of the ring after Mizuki declared him the winner and shot a small, genuine smile at his group of friends. Behind him, an enraged Sasuke had jumped to his feet. He began stomping toward Naruto and shouting at him. Oi, Senju, that wasn't a real fight. You will fight me, damn you. Sasuke's expression was the embodiment of rage as Naruto continued to ignore him. Just like the Senju, walk away you little bee. Walk back to your granny. Naruto chose to continue ignoring Sasuke, knowing nothing good would come from succumbing to his provocations. Out of respect for your mother, who was my mom's best friend, I am going to pretend like you didn't say that. If I fight you, Sasuke, you would be a broken mess on the ground. I didn't want that, and Iruka-sensei wouldn't want that either. So, shut your mouth and take your loss. Iruka noticed that Sasuke was about to lash out and quickly dashed over to him to prevent the situation from escalating. With a firm hand on his shoulder, Iruka guided Sasuke to the nurse's office to get his broken nose treated. Class was dismissed after that, and the village would be privy to a fresh round of gossip about the Senju humiliating the Uchiha. There was a counter-story saying the Senju cheated, but that only came from the Sasuke fan club, so nobody took that side of the story seriously. Naruto and his group went for an additional training session after school that day. Since Naruto had to work out his subdued rage, he trained for longer than usual. After dinner, he went to the Senju gardens to meditate, play with nature energy and get his mind right. He got into a meditative trance and lost track of time as the sun set over Konoha. At some point in his meditative trance, Naruto slipped into sage mode and his senses spread out over the village. Unlike the past, the village was not tainted by overwhelming hate. It was still there, but it wasn't necessarily directed at him and it actually felt peaceful within the walls of Konoha. He felt the surrounding forests, the animals, the villages and all of the natural energy that hung around them. It was all going well until he felt a source of overwhelming sorrow and rage. He focused on the point that stood out among the rest of the village and homed in on it. Much like the Byakugan can see everything, but the user can miss something when they aren't looking for it, sensing in sage mode can pick everything up, but unless you focus on a certain thing, it is all jumbled together. Now, Naruto's senses were on high alert, and he was focusing in on the Hyuga compound. He could sense life sources being snuffed out by one person that was overcome with grief and rage. Naruto jumped to his feet and whispered, "Oh, shit." Naruto darted into the Senju compound to get Tsunade, the only person that would be able to help in this situation. She jumped when he ran into her office, and she immediately noticed something was wrong. But before that, she needed to know something. "Naruto, what happened to you?" Tsunade asked, clearly shocked by his changes. "Now is not the time, Mama. Hisashi has lost it. We need to go now," Naruto yelled, completely ignoring what his mother asked. Tsunade, sensing the urgency in his tone, shelved the topic of Naruto's changes and followed him out of the Senju compound. On the trip over to the Hyuga compound, Naruto noticed that no alarms had gone off yet and nobody knew what was going on. He forced the familiar nature chakra to his legs and blurred forward, leaving Tsunade to catch up to him. Naruto jumped the fence into the Hyuga compound and darted toward the source of the negative emotions. Nothing looked amiss outside, but as Naruto entered the main house that became a different story. The Hyuga that were in the common area were all dead. It was eerie to see them all slumped over with blood trickling out of their mouths and ears. The gentle fist was terrifying, but Naruto would come to appreciate the fact that he didn't walk in on a bloodbath. Naruto was 30 seconds or so ahead of Tsunade and he darted into the clan head's part of the main house. He ran straight through the rice paper door that was separating him from the remaining life sources and instantly processed the situation. Instead of talking, Naruto kicked Hisashi through a couple of the rice paper walls until he hit the hard outer wall of the Hyuga main house. Not wanting to kill Hisashi without hearing the story, Naruto made a hand signal to take the fight elsewhere. Hisashi, knowing that he couldn't betray Naruto, immediately rose to his feet and darted off. Tsunade was behind Naruto, and she was cursing how fast the brat was. Senjutsu was a truly unfair advantage. She followed his path of destruction and wound up in Hiashi's room and saw him injured and in a protective position in front of his daughters. There was blood trickling from the corners of his mouth, and it was clear that he was in a lot of pain. Tsunade immediately went into medic mode and started healing Hiashi, hoping that Naruto could handle himself against Hisashi. Naruto pursued Hisashi out toward the outskirts of the village and the two stopped and faced each other. Hisashi had blood spattering his white robes and wore a battle-weary look on his face. It was clear to Naruto that his rage was subsiding, and the consequences of his actions were catching up with him. I am sorry, Naruto," Hisashi said wearily. Naruto remained in a battle-ready posture, but his enhanced senses in Sage Mode told him that he had nothing to fear from this man. "Slow down and tell me what happened, Hisashi." Hisashi took a deep breath before meeting Naruto's eyes with his firm gaze. Elder Ataru set his son to spar against Neji. Neji beat him in a spar and Ataru took exception to it and tried to activate Neji's caged bird seal. Neji didn't notice and thus didn't react, which enraged the elder. He ordered the guards to detain Neji and then began punishing him physically for defying the main family. My boy is lying half dead in a cell because that bastard couldn't stand losing to a branch member. They gave him 40 lashes, allowed Otayo, Ataru's son, to use Neji as a training dummy and then threw him in a cell. They were discussing further punishment when I overheard the conversation. They denied me visiting rights and I snapped. I wasn't going to stand by and let them do that to my son. I killed everyone, Naruto. The whole main family is dead aside from Hanabi and Hinata. I couldn't bring myself to kill them. I am sorry that your plan didn't work out. Hisashi sounded remorseful but resolved. Naruto watched on, completely stunned. He was so close to erasing the cursed seal from existence and this happens. Talk about a grenade in the timeline. Well, shit, at least you didn't kill Hiashi. Hisashi looked up, believing that he had killed the man. It was then that he noticed Naruto was still covered in sage markings. How do you know that? Hisashi's voice had a pleading edge to it. Well, I think I am in sage mode right now. That was how I sensed you killing your clan. I can feel Hiashi's life force and it is faint, but soon it is there with him. He should pull through. Naruto replied, still in serious mode. His mind working a mile a minute to decide what to do. Well, thank Kami for that. I really didn't want to kill my brother, but he wouldn't let me leave. Hisashi answered, sounding like a weight had been removed from his chest. Naruto nodded, it was a small blessing, before responding. Look, Hisashi, the only option you have is missing Nin. If you will accept a mission for me, I have a long-term mission for you. If you complete it, I will talk about getting you a pardon from the fire daimyo. A life and purpose returned to Hisashi's eyes. I am listening, Naruto Senju. Alright, well, you will probably be approached by an organization calling themselves Akatsuki. I want you to infiltrate this organization and become my inside man. I will find a way to communicate with you, but this is the best I can think up on such short notice. Naruto answered as he began pulling out seal tags and a brush. Hisashi contemplated the offer and watched the young blonde work. Well, it isn't like I have much else to do. Naruto finished up writing out a couple seal tags and handed them to Hisashi. Go to Tazuna in Wave Country. Tell him Naruto said that you could use the Senju compound. Use the first tag to kill your scent. Naruto paused here, cursed and then continued. Don't use the second tag until you get a new change of clothes. Put the second tag on the chest over your new clothes. It will hide your chakra signature. The third tag is a beacon tag. Carry it with you and I will be able to find you when I need to. Why are you helping me, Naruto? I am a murderer. Hisashi asked. Because, in your position, I probably would have done the same. Naruto answered. Go to my compound in Wave, stock up and try to survive. The Akatsuki are not a nice bunch, but I am confident they will approach you at some point. Sell them on the act that you are a bad guy, and they will let you in. I am taking steps to thwart them already, but they are strong. I will do this for you, on my honor as a father. In return, please care for Neji and remove the seals from my family. Hisashi implored Naruto as he bowed deeply. I already planned on doing that. Okay, Hisashi, it is time to incapacitate me. Don't worry, I will heal up just fine, but the girls saw me chase you. Naruto said in a deadly serious tone as his sage mode faded. Hisashi looked hesitant at first, but when he saw the firm resolve in Naruto's eyes, he did what needed to be done. Hisashi used an old Anbu exit out of the village and began his life as a missing nin, leaving Naruto crumpled on the ground. As he lay there, he couldn't help but wonder how much this was going to change the future course of events. His mind couldn't begin to calculate all of the changes this would inspire. Well, he would just have to play it by ear like everyone else. Naruto limped his way back to the Hyuga compound and saw that it was surrounded by Anbu and Uchiha police. He was stopped by a weasel-masked Anbu and 2 Hyuga guards. Halt! You are not allowed to enter the premise by order of the Hokage. Weasel stated calmly. Naruto shot a look at him and couldn't stop a fond smile from finding its way onto his lips. Oh, Weasel, my apologies. I was actually the first person on site, and I am returning from my fight with Hiashi Hyuga. Is my mother still inside? Itachi was taken aback by the information. This boy was an academy student, and he survived a fight against Hiashi. Your mother took Hiashi Hyuga to the hospital. If you were first on scene, you will need to come with me. Naruto shrugged in response. Fine by me. One thing, please make sure that Neji Hyuga is recovered from the Hyuga cells and taken to the hospital. It was the reason that this incident even happened. The two Hyuga guards looked down at their feet in shame before Naruto addressed them again. Look, you two, there are no remaining main house members to issue you orders. Do as I say, and I will help your clan be free of that cursed seal. The two men looked shocked at the young boy's audacious statement, but they bowed before going to see if Neji was still in the Hyuga's prison. Weasel watched the young boy with a high level of interest. This boy was unusual in a good way, and he had Weasel's full attention. Suddenly, the Hokage telling him to take a Genin squad didn't sound so bad. Very well, Lord Senju, I believe it is time for us to go see the Hokage. Weasel stated blandly. Hiruzen Sarutobi was having a bad day, a very bad day. There was no other way to put it when 47 members of a clan end up dead and one is in the ICU. Even worse, he had no idea why anyone would possibly do this, and he didn't have the list of casualties yet to tell him who did it. He felt like he would never escape this office, towers of paper by day and terrible news by night. Hiruzen was just lighting his pipe when he felt the familiar surge of chakra that meant a shunshin was imminent. Moments later, Weasel was kneeling in front of the Hokage while Naruto just stared at him with a blank look. Report, Weasel. The Hokage stated forcefully. I was guarding the Hyuga compound when Naruto Senju attempted to gain entry. After talking to him, he was first on scene and fought off Hiashi Hyuga before he was able to finish of the clan head and his daughters. Weasel reported with a neutral tone. Hiruzen's pipe clattered to his desk as he stared at Naruto in shock. Wah? How? Please explain. Naruto simply nodded. Lord Hokage, I was doing an evening round of meditation and fell into a trance. During that trance, I activated Sage Mode for the first time, and I was able to sense all of Konoha. As I was exploring this new ability, I felt the loss of life forces within the Hyuga compound. I notified my clan head, and we immediately went to investigate. Thanks to my Sage Mode, I was able to beat Tsunade to the Hyuga estate. I went directly to where I felt the battle and saw Hiashi standing over Hiashi, Hinata and Hanabi. I immediately intervened by kicking Hiashi out of the main house and he fled. I caught him near the northwestern wall, and we engaged in another fight. This time, he was ready for me, and my Sage Mode ran out. With the loss of natural energy, I was unable to keep up with him. He disabled me and shared the reason why he did this. Both members in the office looked wide-eyed at the young boy in front of them. Hiashi was the strongest Hyuga in the village and he was bordering on S rank. Furthermore, he claims that he can enter Sage Mode at this young age, which would make him a more prolific sage than Jiraiya. The implications of this were staggering. Hiruzen recomposed himself and flared his chakra in a set pattern, which seemed to give the young Senju a headache. You called, Hokage-sama. The leader of 4 Anbu said. He was wearing the dog mask. Yes, dog, please set out immediately to track and capture Hiashi Hyuga. His last known location was in the northwest section of Konoha near the wall. The Anbu squad disappeared and Hiruzen returned his attention to Naruto. Now, Naruto, while the battle sounds like an amazing story, could you tell me more about your conversation with Hiashi? Naruto nodded before he closed the Hokage's window, weaved through seals and set up a privacy barrier. He ignored the strange looks from the pair and turned back to face the Hokage. Can Weasel be trusted with sensitive information? Hiruzen nodded. Very well, I have been in communication with Hiashi Hyuga about creating a counter to the caged bird seal. I accepted a job from him to create a safe counter seal and an alternative dojutsu protection. He told me that Hiashi agreed to use it if we were able to create a safe alternative. Please hold your questions until the end. In an attempt to test one aspect of my seal, I created a disabling function for the prisoner portion of the cursed seal. I gave Hiashi 2 copies to test its effectiveness, which worked well. Evidently, one of the Hyuga elders found out and beat his son Neji half to death for a minor offense. Hiashi heard that they planned to execute him, which made him snap. Hiashi killed the whole main family before I was able to intervene. I stopped him before he could land a killing blow on Hiashi, which he actually thanked me for. That was the extent of our conversation. Naruto maintained an even tone and eye contact as he told his story. Sure, he may have embellished a bit, but it was essentially the truth. Hiruzen sat back in his chair and rubbed his temples before he picked his pipe up off the floor. After taking a calming puff, Hiruzen spoke. Thank you for intervening, Naruto. However, I don't know why you thought it would be okay to work on the Hyuga seal without proper authorization. It was a request from one clan to another. I was given source material by the Hyuga family. Such matters do not require authorization from the Hokage as they fall under clan business. Naruto replied neutrally, stumping Hiruzen's attempt to chastise him. Hiruzen sighed, he had no leg to stand on and he wasn't going to take on Tsunade and the Fire Daimyo over this. Okay, Naruto. So, this whole thing happened because a Hyuga elder was going to kill Neji. Did he provide any inclination of where he may go? Naruto paused to think here, should he mislead them? No, the old monkey was still spry enough to catch him in a lie. No, Lord Hokage. Hiruzen sighed and decided to try and gain more information on the boy. Well, Naruto, could you explain how you were able to enter Sage mode without a summoning contract? The only one that had been able to do this before was Hashirama Senju. Contemporary knowledge says that Sage arts require a summoning medium to learn to channel the natural energy. Naruto gave the Hokage a deadpan stare. Do you want him to know? He nodded his head toward Weasel, who was standing there observing impassively. Hiruzen chuckled, yes, he can know. I am planning on naming him my successor soon. Naruto sighed, not really wanting to tell more people than he needed to. Well, old man, you answered your own question. If Hashirama could do it and he had Mokuton, then why wouldn't I be able to do it if I also had Mokuton? I have been studying his notes and journal for years. I have been able to sense and feel nature energy since I was 6. I have been meditating and playing with nature energy for an equally long amount of time. The only reason I never took it into my own coils was because I knew it was dangerous. Furthermore, natural energy is the essential missing element of Mokuton. Weasel gave the first signs of emotion as Naruto could sense shock and disbelief out of him. The Hokage was also quite stunned by the statement and had nothing to refute it. After thinking about it for a minute, Hiruzen spoke. Well, I will have to notify the summons. This is quite unexpected, and I am sure they would like to know. I will also have to call Jiraiya back to train you in the Sage Arts. Naruto interrupted the Hokage, not needing Jiraiya to be involved. No need for that, let him come back when he is ready. His form of senjutsu is different from what I do, I am quite certain of that after reading my father's notes. Naruto, your father wasn't a sage. Hiruzen retorted. No, but he had started his sage training. If he didn't become Hokage, he would have completed it. He incorporated senjutsu into some of his later seals, having had a basic understanding of it. Quite frankly, Lord Hokage, Jiraiya would not be an effective teacher for me any longer. Naruto shot back, drawing a chuckle out of Weasel. You are quite interesting, Naruto Senju. No wonder you were able to beat my little brother with no hands. Tell me, if you know you have Mokuton, what are your elemental affinities? Weasel entered the conversation for the first time. Wind, water and earth. Naruto answered blandly. Interesting, was the only thing Weasel said before going quiet. That will be all for tonight, Naruto. If you could write a report of tonight's events, have your grandmother show you how, I would appreciate it. Weasel, please collect the clan heads for an emergency council meeting. You may gather Shizune instead of Tsunade since she will be busy at the hospital. Hiruzen stated in a manner that closed the conversation. I will let sis know for you, Weasel. Good night, Lord Hokage. With that, Naruto dropped the privacy barrier and used Shunshin to vacate the Hokage's office. The two remaining in the Hokage's office looked at each other, before Hiruzen spoke. Before you leave, what is your assessment of the boy? Very interesting. If he has the power of the first, then he will become a monster. He does seem far too mature for his age though. Weasel conceded. Itachi, that doesn't begin to describe it. That boy went through a lot and Onoki has been having sessions with him. He won't tell me much, but he does say the boy will be loyal to the village to honor his father and mother. Hiruzen sounded tired of thinking about Naruto. With respect, Lord Hokage, could anyone blame the child for leaving? I was on his detail once or twice before we lost him. I can tell you that even I would have preferred to leave rather than take that treatment. Itachi responded. So, you're on his side too. Hiruzen sounded betrayed. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Does a subordinate betray his master by indulging in something he knows to be wrong, or does he betray his master by not informing him that he is doing something wrong? Itachi responded. Damn it, Itachi. I am sick and tired of having it shoved in my face. Hiruzen's angry reply let Itachi know that it was not appropriate to keep poking the bear. With respect, Lord Hokage, neither he nor I shoved anything in your face. I will take the boy on my genin team, since it is an accepted prerequisite for a Hokage to have led a genin team. I think it will be most interesting to instruct someone like him. You don't want to teach your brother. Hiruzen retorted with a raised eyebrow. My brother clan learned the clan jutsu from clan members. It could also be seen as a conflict of interest. Why not make Kakashi step up? Itachi offered, which made Hiruzen think a bit. I will think on it. Now, go convene the council please. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.